Like, in a day, if I was, like, mucked around with in a day, I was so depressed, I just couldn't get on. I was just completely gone to pieces.
He was bullied unmercifully. He used to get knocked about, he was covered in bruises. I never used to see till he got undressed and I'd catch a glimpse of him on his leg or his arm.
Have you been bullied?
Yeah. Yeah, I have.
What sort of things?
Well, you know, a lot of people call me really names. You know, they go around the corridor and they punch me and they trip me up or whatever.
He's a quiet boy and he's a kind boy and he would never bully anybody else. And that's the type they pick on, the type that can't fight back.
Did you ask for any help from the staff?
Occasionally. Well, only once or twice. But it carried on. I mean, I think it's still the same after a couple of weeks. Oh, yeah, it died down. And then it came back.
What do you think the staff should have done then?
Thrown the kids out that done it. I mean, it shouldn't be tolerated. Anyone that makes people's life a misery shouldn't be allowed to have an education.
I think they're real scum. I think they're not very nice people.
Mark Hall is 14 and over 6 feet tall. In the past, he's been accused of disrupting lessons and bullying.
Is that understood? Right, you may go now.
His friend John Williams has also been disciplined for intimidating other pupils.
And what does whore mean?
Prostitute.
A prostitute. And is she?
No, sir.
So you're insulting her?
Yes, sir.
I smoke. Oh.
Mark has been sent home after a confrontation with a teacher in class. The head and deputies discussed the incident.
And then he got up and right into David's face, according to David, he said, F off. And then David suggested that he went out of the class and he said, well, it wouldn't bother him leaving this shitty class, and stalked out.
Do you have a seat, please?
John has been called to his year head, Francis Wardle. After a disagreement in class, he wrote a letter to a girl, again calling her a whore.
How would you feel if I sent that home to your parents? How would you feel about that? Or what would your parents say?
I suppose they'd be quite angry.
I think they would be shocked, wouldn't they? I was shocked. I hope, John, that in the school that we treat people with respect in terms of teachers to pupils and pupils to other pupils. I don't call that respect. I'm quite upset by that, actually.
Do you regret writing whore in that letter?
I regret writing the whole letter, any of the... It was stupid.
But do you regret it because you think it was an unpleasant thing to say, or because you got caught?
Because I got caught.
The school tries to work with aggressors and victims. For the first time at Park, a social skills group has been set up. It's aimed at the children who aren't coping with school.
So we've got to try and give you a bit more confidence, haven't we, to cope with that. Not to go and beat them up, but to stick up for yourself a bit more. If things ever get too nasty, you know, you must go and tell the teacher. You will, won't you?
We're going to look at something that's going to help you.
Invited to this lunchtime group are some of the school's more vulnerable pupils. Not all, but some are bullying victims. Others, often through excessive shyness, lack confidence, the ability to communicate and make friends.
When I first mentioned this in the staff meeting, some members of staff were extremely worried about it. There was a lot of panic. I felt very threatened at the meeting because the queries that were raised were in such a panicky tone. I thought, my God, it's, you know, we're not asking them, it's not going to be a psychologist's course.
Among the pupils in the group is Bina.
Is there a particular part that you would be happiest doing? Would you like to do the lips, which was your... Or would you like to do maybe words?
She's enormously shy. I mean, tremendously shy. But I think there's more than just being shy. Her lack of confidence is something rare, I think.
Or do you feel you could do any bit that you were asked to do? Yeah? Do you want to have a little think about that?
She doesn't try and make any sort of comment, let it be a joke or anything else. One of the things we talked about as staff was whether or not she's ever played.
Matthew is very different. Teachers feel he's too outspoken and too often wants his own way.
We've got some comments over here. So.
Go on.
Yeah, what did you think?
It's okay. What do you mean it's okay? Brilliant.
Accepting other people's decisions, right? That doesn't mean just sitting there and going yes, yes, yes. It means putting your point of view like you did today, but not getting upset and not getting annoyed if you don't get your own way, right? Yeah.
And there's Armin, a cheerful, outgoing boy from Iran who's being bullied.
I don't like fight. I can beat them up, but I'm not.
No, and I think you're quite right. I don't think fighting's the answer. What I think the answer is between us to make it very clear to them that we're not going to put up with this, okay? All right? So, I see what you're saying.
Every
You've got a right for that not to happen.
The course will last 6 weeks and through a number of activities encourage decision-making, communication and the development of listening skills. It's all about improving the quality of life these children enjoy at school.
We're not social workers. On the other hand, hopefully we are there to fulfil the potential of the whole person.
Before it's decided what action to take over Mark's outburst, the head wants to be seen to be fair. He decides to interview other pupils in the class about exactly what happened.
What time are you bringing them down then?
He got up and he said, "Oh, this is a NAF lesson."
You used the word NAF. You
Well,
weren't going to
he didn't
say
say
you
NAF.
weren't going to say that at first. You were going to use another word, but your lips changed.
Yeah, well, he swore, I think, but he swore under his breath. I don't think Mr. Ashford's...
There's no such thing as swearing under your breath. You either swear or you don't swear.
When he swore, he said, "Can I say it?"
Yes.
He said, "Oh, you can piss off," but he said it not at him.
I don't care.
There's no way a teacher's going to push me round for as long as I'm at school. There's no way a teacher's going to push me around.
Was Mark making more noise or comments than anyone else?
Yes, I think he was, yeah.
So, not that it's your decision, but in your opinion, was it reasonable that he should be sent outside?
Yes, I think it was reasonable he should be sent outside, yeah.
Why do you think he's like he is?
I think Mark has to be the number one. He doesn't really like discipline, but as I said to him, we have discipline all our lives. When you're grown up, when you're out working, you have to accept a certain amount of discipline.
Yeah, but you're getting
it's self-discipline.
paid for that, you know.
It's self-discipline.
But look at school, you're there like 13, 14 years.
But
you just get fed up with it in the end.
But I had, on some other evidence, he actually called him a name.
A puff. Oh, I didn't hear him say that, seriously.
No, that's fine. I'm not suggesting you did, I'm just asking.
I mean, if I can control him from home, surely they can control him to an extent in school. I mean, that's what they're there for. That's what they're paid to do.
Don't the people sometimes think of telling them to shut up?
Well, the thing is, Mark is, like, bigger than us, and, like, if you tell him to shut up...
Is Mark bigger than you? Only marginally bigger than you.
Yeah, I know, but... Well, if you like, tell him to shut up, like...
He'll thump you? So you're scared of him? That's not an insult, I'm asking a straight question.
Yes,
okay.
John's mother has been called in about his behaviour.
His behaviour in class, and also sort of his behaviour with other pupils as well, and especially the behaviour with the other pupils we're very, very worried about.
Last term we tried absolutely everything, taking his shoe, good trainers off him, buying him cheap ones, what he hated, absolutely hated, and that seemed to improve for a while. Of course then I was called back in by Mr. Barker, and I don't know what to do.
Why do you think that he is sort of intimidating? I mean, it is intimidating or bullying other children. Does he sort of ever talk about that at home?
No.
I don't think
It's
he
never
sees
him.
it. No, he never sees it that way.
It's
does
never
he?
him. He's always doing it for someone else, or someone else has upset his friend, so he's just had a word, but he didn't mean it and he wouldn't do it, what he said.
If he does let himself down like that, and if he is, bullying, that the school can't take that anymore.
I don't really want John to leave this school. I like this school, but if John is a bully, then he'll be a bully anywhere, really. I mean, last term he was awful at home as well, and when I spoke to Mr. Rumble, and Mr Barker. I said, well, I'm his mum and I couldn't kill him. I mean, I said, so I can imagine how teachers feel when he's standing there being stroppy.
He's been warned and he's served the punishment and so on. It is up to John now, really. And it's very nice to meet you, and you do seem very supportive. It's good to have that backing.
If you find decision-making normally hard, I do sometimes. But
The social skills group is into its 3rd session. For Matthew, the progress has been slow but noticeable.
Well, Matthew's had one. Do you not want a tree? Well, you might have a bit of your one.
Yeah.
But you can't. You won't. You'll have to agree with whatever the people decide. Do you set that, Matthew? Yeah. With good heart. Yeah.
But for Bina, there's been a transformation.
You've got to be really strong because you really want this pen back.
A few weeks ago, Bina would not say one word.
Bina, would you like to make a suggestion of what you would like to see on it?
Now at least she feels able to join in, taking on Matthew in an assertive training exercise.
What's the problem?
Problem is he took my pen. No, you took my pen.
Calm down, calm down. Who am I going to give this pen back to?
To me, because it was mine.
Is it hers, Matthew?
No, it's mine. Jen had the truth.
What can you say? I would say to him something like, don't you look at me like that. You're not going to bully me. No, you're not going to bully me by doing that. Go on, tell him you're not going to let him bully you.
Don't look at me like that.
Why? I'm not frightened of you.
I'm not frightened of you. You should be, because I got money.
Go on, that's fantastic. But keep going. The change in somebody like Bina was so heartwarming. It was just so phenomenal. From a person that doesn't speak at all to somebody who will come up and have a little chat, however small it is.
The head is still dealing with the Mark Hall case. New allegations have been made by pupils against Mark.
Do you know anything about the incidents with Mark Hall?
Yes.
What do you know?
Well, in the drama that he's threatened Chris that he had to pay £7.50, otherwise he'd beat him up.
Did you hear that?
Yes. And in Colwood, when we had the RE, he smacked him in the face a couple of times.
Not you?
Well, he's hit me a couple of times, but it's Chris mainly.
I see. Right. Okay. You didn't ever find out what this £7.50 was for?
Well, he said it's protection against him beating Chris up.
Did you hear him say that?
Yeah.
You heard him say it's protection?
Yeah. He said it's protection money, so I won't beat you up.
I'm supposed to be stealing money off
Stealing
people.
money off of people, which I know is not true.
Why do you say that?
Well, because Mark has his own bank account. He has money that I leave for him every morning. And there's no reason for him to go and demand money off of other people.
We've spoken to pupils who say that Mark was asking kids for money. Is that totally and utterly untrue?
Yeah. I don't care what they say, because most of it's load of lies anyway that school come out with.
I think he said something about me giving some money to him.
Yeah.
But I thought it was just a joke, because it was laughing on it. He told me to give him like £20 or something like that.
You scared of him?
Yeah. Most people are scared of him.
So you're a bit nervous about telling me this?
Yeah.
Because you think he might get his own back?
Yeah.
I see. What can I do to make you not nervous then?
I do feel that they have got their favourites and they label them, and he's been labelled.
Parents' evening for Year 10. In a school with high academic standards, the news will be good for most parents, but not all.
If she keeps working this way, she'll be okay.
Good. I'm really pleased.
So am I.
I am concerned about his written work because in a nutshell, he's not doing it.
Mark has made a wonderful start. He really has. I've been so impressed by him.
Yes, he's very pleasant.
Yeah.
As long as you don't disturb him too much.
For John's mother, the news is disheartening. 7 weeks after her meeting with the school, nothing has improved.
It's been bad, hasn't it?
some good points, but there are not
very good. As I was leaving, he said, "Mum, you better take a pillow." I said, "What for?" He said, "To cry on." I said, "Is it that bad?" He went, "No, only joking."
We've had problems with him losing his books, right? And his exercise book. And every time I've given him a new exercise book, he's put it somewhere in the classroom and it's gone missing.
Do you think you brought up your son correctly?
Yeah, I do. But obviously I haven't, have I? Because something's wrong.
Part of the time he's distracting others in the room. Not necessarily deliberately, but he's got that manner that kind of means that everybody else is on edge.
Do you intimidate some pupils, do you think?
Not really. I do a few. The people I've had fights with and I've won. I suppose I do intimidate them a little bit.
I think he's trying to be tough, to prove to people that he can bully them or whatever it is. I don't know. I mean, even at home, he's like it. I mean, if it turned the other way and they were onto John, John would run. Definitely. It's just getting that across to him.
I think back about all my mistakes and something, I don't care. What's done, what's done. But other things, I think, oh, damn, what did I do that for?
How do you think his school life will end up?
What, the way he's going? Not very good. The way he's going. But that is going to change.
Do you think school is important to you?
No. I did, because my mum was drumming it into my head, but I've realised I don't think it's that important.
Early afternoon and 4 youths are spotted on the way into school. One is a former pupil with a reputation for sticking up for his younger brothers.
Hello, what are you doing? Have you got that job?
Yes.
Is it still going?
Nothing, man. It's just that I'll find out when Mark Hall is dead.
That's right. Well, you still talking to me. Come on, can you talk to me?
I'm all right.
Come on.
Stephen has received a call from his brother in the first year.
Adrian was on the phone and he said, look, some people...
Who was on the phone?
Adrian, right? He goes, some people are after me, can you come down and sort it out, right?
Well, what did he come to Mr. Ford? Has he been to Mr. Ford?
I've been in there, I've seen...
No, I mean Adrian.
I don't know, he hasn't told me nothing, but if I find out who this Mark Hall is and I find out where he is, right, he won't be starting on anyone again because I would break his hands for him. Yeah. See, all I've been told is he's starting on my brother and you know what I'm like.
Yeah, I know what you're like, don't I? That's why I need to be here when you're here, isn't it? Eh?
People start on my family and then they've got the biggest person to argue with.
Well. Don't you kid yourself.
Stephen is eventually persuaded to leave the case of Mark Hall with the school.
He's come up for that?
Yes.
Why doesn't he find something better to do?
Oh, he says they're coming in a cab. Got a cab waiting. Come from Norfolk.
The head sees Adrian.
What is going on?
Sir, someone started on me, Mark Hall, and I found out my brother Stephen.
When someone starts on you, as you put it, what do?
Try to teach us, sir.
Why didn't you? That's what we're paid for, to look after you. And if you seriously think that Stephen can look after you, you're wrong. I'm sure he feels he can. He's wrong. Because if he comes up to school and touches a pupil at this school, I shall make every single bit of trouble I possibly can, and that's quite a bit. Now, I don't want to do that. For someone bullying you shouldn't lead to your brother getting into big legal trouble.
This incident is not a one-off. Outsiders cause a recurring problem for Park. These youths have been found in the school.
Get out of my way, man. Get out of my way, man. Move. Move, man. Don't be filming me, man. Do it, man.
A lovely pictorial view of himself. Yeah.
In 20 years, I've been attacked with a bread knife, 2 carving knives, shot at with an air pistol, had rocks thrown at me. And this 17, 18, I don't know, with a brick.
Do you like the job of head teacher then?
Yeah, well, you just can't go on.
Why not?
Only be a minute. Go on to the school. Hello! Hello! I told you.
I will say 2 words. Go away.
Don't put the camera on me, I'm telling you. I never come up here for trouble. I never walked into school, as that man knows.
That's right.
I just come up and I said hello to 2 friends. I'm going about my business now.
Have a nice weekend.
Fine.
Thank you very much. Every evening you think, oh no, I've got to go out there again. And if there are some sitting out there, you think, I can do without this after a day at work. So it's a sore. I don't know how we get rid of it. I don't know what we're going to do.
I think there was a philosophy class you wanted to join for the afternoon.
Now Mr. Ford's leaving, he's alright, actually. Yeah, he don't really care. He doesn't really care now. He lets you get away with everything.
The head decides to permanently exclude Mark from Park High without asking him back into school.
I felt that he'd been thrown out and not even given a chance to put his side of the story.
For his sake, we should have done it about 6 months ago. He'd caused so much nuisance around the school and he wasn't learning anything, he wasn't doing any work. He was just disrupting the school.
Right, you can smoke.
Mark will have a fresh start at a nearby school.
So will you be putting him under pressure?
No.
No, if they put me under pressure, I'll just get worse. Just don't listen to him then.
That wouldn't work.
If they treat Mark, if they talk to Mark normally, like if we're talking, Mark's fine. But if they put pressure on him, and that is when he goes the other way.
The social skills group is nearing the end of its course.
Your homework this week is to practice being proud of being who you are in the classroom. So when you come into my drama lesson and somebody says, Bina's in my group, you're going to say, I'm going to be in this group and I'm not going to be there behind you, all right? Will you have a go? Right. Bina still has a problem in the drama lesson. Yeah. Because the kids don't want to work with her. And last week, she was on the verge of tears, and I sat standing with my hand on her shoulder because she was... The teaching group is very aware of Bina's difficulties. I've had murders with them this term in the drama lesson, in trying to make them understand that their comments are painful. I don't know whether that's been a success, but they do understand that their behaviour affects Bina.
The following week, there's good news for the group.
I think there's been a tremendous improvement, young lady, who did not need support in the drama lesson this week.
Well done.
Fantastic. She was brilliant. Did I not stay well away from you this week?
Good girl.
Grillsville.
It's the last session of the group. The children must take what they have learned back into the classroom.
Are you happy to be leaving?
No.
No. Are you pleased it's over, or you prefer to stay? And what about you, Armin? Are you glad that it's finishing?
Not really.
No.
Is he still being bullied?
Yes, to a certain extent, but I think he's more able to cope with it, which is what you want. You can't ever stop bullying in a school. You've got to be a bit more forceful.
When they make fun of me, I never talk to them.
Well, I'd like to see you stand up for yourself a bit more. I think that would be very good, if you could. I don't mean fight at all. We've got to find Matthew.
But Matthew does not turn up.
Matthew feels that he's been picked on. What we failed to do was to praise him enough in the sessions, and I think that's something that we've learnt. In trying to moderate his behaviour, he's been receiving very negative feedback from us. So we're not throwing you out onto the dust heap, into the cold. All right, thank you very much indeed. Off you go then, while I clear up my room. It was very emotional, actually. We all... Yes, that's very important. Saying goodbye is very important, which is why we were very disappointed that Matthew didn't come. It's important to draw it all together and for them to feel that they've achieved something.
Bye. Bye.
3 months later, Bina and her family moved back to Tanzania. John was suspended for bullying. He claimed he was innocent. Matthew decided not to rejoin the social skills group. And Mark, after a shaky start at his new school, has so far kept out of further trouble.
Now, before you go, Max,
You stop saying that. There's an awful lot of things up your bum, isn't there?
Very good.
That is utterly selfish, isn't it? How would you like someone to do that to you?
Well done, Crapper. It was Thomas Crapper and Sons.
It's terrible, Max, isn't it, that you smoke and that you inconvenience other people?
Park High School, a popular suburban comprehensive in the borough of Harrow, is holding its annual party for old people. More than 200 pensioners have crammed into the school's hall.
It is very pleasant for me to see elderly people and young people together enjoying themselves, because I think young people nowadays get a very bad press. The vast, vast majority are in fact very nice to be with. So have a lovely time this afternoon and enjoy yourselves.
Most of the old folk here today need particular care and attention.
I'm sure you wouldn't believe, but we've actually lost somebody.
The number of pupils at Park High who have special needs is much smaller, but growing. About 1 in 12 children at the comprehensive is classified as having learning difficulties or a disability. Gavin was born with deformed hands.
Right, push. Lovely. Great, fantastic.
I don't think there should be a problem for handicapped children. Other children, like the able-bodied children, accept that now, that they are handicapped children, about that they're not being hidden anymore.
Do you want to make a move or not? Does she want to make a move?
No, she just doesn't want to do what she's told.
Oh, I see. I'll leave it to you to do it.
Dark region here, which we call the saddle.
Marion has hearing difficulties. And so does Chetan.
How important is it for children like Chetan and Marion that they go to a mainstream school and not a special school? I mean, do you think that's important?
I think it's very important. They're at a local school, they're with people that live near them. And, you know, the crunch comes when they're leaving school and they're going to be out in the hearing world.
Terry comes from China and has language difficulties. Today, a lesson about AIDS.
When a man is sexually excited, yes, and he ejaculates, he has an orgasm.
That has developed from this.
Right. Help me out. Come on, what's the word that the kids would use?
I wouldn't know.
Oh, I see. It's good to see it happening, that children that perhaps would have been sent to a special school for physically disabled or sent to a special school for the deaf, those children actually coming into mainstream schools. And that is a challenge. I think it can work, but it does need a lot of thought and it needs a lot of consideration.
Never mind, you'll get there. Thank you very much. Goodbye, you beautiful people.
Parents' evening and a row is brewing. Mr. and Mrs. Stein's daughter Deborah has been given a detention for leaving school during lessons without permission. She claims that a first-year pupil told her that her mother, who is recovering from a car crash, had been taken ill at home. It was only when she got home that she discovered she was the victim of a cruel prank. The parents meet Deputy Head John Rumble.
I'm afraid to say that she is not going to do detention because somebody has played a practical joke on my daughter. I must say this is not the first practical joke being played on us by pupils of your school. We had phone calls in the middle of the night, all night long, yoghurt thrown at our car. This was the last straw.
The school are not convinced by Deborah's story about the boy, believing that it might be more than coincidence that she went home just before a science test.
She must recognise the
She
person.
doesn't think she would. She said her mind... I mean, she said to me, Mummy, my mind went blank. She said, when they said you were ill, all I could think of was you lying somewhere and I had to get home and I just ran out of school.
I personally would say it is imperative that we try to find out
we've told
who
her.
this
We've told her
person
this.
was.
The head will deal with the matter.
My wife and myself do not get on too well with Mr. Ford. So
We've had words,
we've had words before.
Well,
so, you know...
You're not really asking me as a deputy to intervene between him and you, are you?
I'm just saying, I'm making you aware of the situation.
There is no way that I would be foolish enough to do that.
No.
It's almost a year to the day that Deborah was given 3 detentions for fighting. Her parents again thought it was unfair and refused to let her serve them. The head disagreed, but eventually a compromise was reached and she served 1. The head sees Deborah to ask her if she's been able to find this mystery boy.
Have you found this first-year boy yet?
No.
You haven't?
No, sir.
So why not?
I haven't seen him or anything.
Now, you haven't come up with this boy. I cannot possibly accept your story unless you do so. Right? Right, thank you. Take that home. And slam the door on your way out.
What about if the school says this time she must do her detention?
Well, then it goes to, obviously, to the Board of Governors.
Board of Governors, Education
then
Department,
it goes further.
local MP, I don't know, whoever else
Because
there
we
is.
feel she is
She's been victimised.
victimised.
When the parents send children to school, they accept the school's authority and discipline. This is a normal, routine matter. It's a detention. She's got to do it, I'm afraid.
Lee Singh is one of the brightest boys in the school. He's 15 and has composed this piece for his music GCSE. He's not classified as a special needs pupil and therefore does not receive extra individual attention.
It's quite exceptional, really, and you'd see people producing similar things at colleges of music or at university departments. He's the first person I've met who's got that sort of degree of competence.
And how long have you been teaching for?
8 years.
Natasha is 12 and has special needs. She was born with cerebral palsy and is new to Park High.
Dressing is a problem. She has her hair short because she couldn't look after her own hair. Laces, cutting up food. She has lots of problems, really. Games with other kids. Kids don't like playing with her because she's slower.
Adapting to life at secondary school is not proving easy for Natasha.
If they're writing something, they've got to get something down off the board. You know, they only have many minutes to get it all down. Well, Tasha comes home, she'll cry. You didn't have time to get it down, Mum.
Unlike Natasha, Lee Sin faces no such hurdles. Yet some teachers believe he should still be classed as a special needs pupil.
Children like Lee Sin, for example, who are really exceptional, get no special provision, and that's the thing which can sadden and annoy many teachers. He is a special needs pupil because his own degree of personal advancement is vastly more than most pupils in the school.
For Natasha, it's not just the physical demands of school, she also has to face the cruelty of some children.
A couple of the kids were going, oh, you're spastic, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it just reduces Tash to tears, and she's got enough to cope with without having to deal with that kind of, you know, from the rest of the kids. But you're going to get it. I mean, she's a loving kid, and I don't know, I can't stand to watch people sort of dig the knife in, because she tries so hard.
At the present moment, I feel that the provision for people who are struggling is really excellent. But I think that we've yet to really explore the possibilities for helping people like Lisa to achieve their real potential. He doesn't get a good deal from school.
This is her first report. I am disappointed. Everything is poor. The only thing that is sort of exceptional is her attitude. She's so willing.
Do you think that it's a possibility that, Natasha, that the conclusion might be actually mainstream school is not right for her?
No, I don't think that. I think that she'll be okay.
I like the idea of these kids entering these schools because it doesn't make them so different, you know, and they are part of society. I mean, there's nothing really wrong. She's not that handicapped, but I really can't see her coping. It will make her feel as though she's failed if I have to take her out, and I don't really want to do that, but I will if it's necessary.
Yes, please.
A fight has been broken up. Now John Rumble tries to find out from Robert, who's been attacked, what's happened.
How did it start?
I don't know.
No, did you start punching somebody?
No.
Right. So somebody started punching you?
Yeah.
Well, why?
Don't know.
So somebody just comes up to you and starts to punch you?
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense, does it? Is room 7 open?
It's unfortunate for Robert that his stonewalling is in vain. His younger brother has already been in and spilled the beans.
Well, my brother said something, Robert Taylor, my brother, said something about Jamie's girlfriend.
So why did Jamie start to punch you then?
Who said it was Jamie?
I said it was Jamie. You just heard me.
Yeah, it weren't Jamie.
Why, what did your brother say then?
Something about she's ugly or something like that.
Dear, I've already seen some other people.
So?
So, don't try to make out it wasn't him.
So what if it was?
Very well. Now, don't start to get aggressive with me. He started hitting him. Do you mean punching him? What do you mean? Hitting him, punching him, kicking him, what?
Punching him and he need him to.
Do you think about it? Okay, well, don't upset yourself and don't get yourself in that silly situation. Robert! Robert! Come here. Come here. Don't slam the door on me like that, old chap. Right? Now, don't get yourself in that silly state where you start getting yourself into trouble. Right? If you're not in trouble, don't get yourself into trouble. And don't start slamming the door on me. Because then you will get into trouble, won't you? Eh?
Yeah.
Well, you take it steady then.
No, but I'm not coming into trouble because I ain't getting in trouble.
Well, you will do if you don't see me, won't you?
Yeah, why should I see you talking about?
Because I want to know what was going on. That's why.
Jamie arrives to give his side of the fight.
Like, he goes, oh, that's bad, that's rough. You know, it's my girlfriend taking the mark out of her. Like,
So he said that's...
She says that's grotty or something.
He said?
He said she's grotty. Like, rough and ugly. So I grabbed Rob and I said outside, and he wouldn't come outside. So I put him up against the wall and I just hit him. It's like, the way he says it, it's just provocative. The way he keeps, like, he always says little things that wind me up to a certain stage. Like, he says things before.
But
like,
you can't afford to get yourself wound up in that way. Because if you do, you'll wind up in court.
No, he's just like whinging about, oh, Jamie's hit me, I've got a little bruise on the side of my head. What's the problem?
Did he whinge? Did he whinge?
Yes, he did, because he walks away like this, I'm going to get Mr. Ford and you're going to get done and all this.
Well, that's because you had obviously hurt him.
Well, he shouldn't have hurt me. He hurt my pride, he hurt my, like, self-esteem. These, what other big words do I know?
What other big words do you know? You're doing quite well. Self-esteem and pride is very good. It hasn't hurt your honour all that much, if that's what he said. There are things he could have said a lot more than that.
Yeah,
what would you have done
me,
then?
you know,
Taken a knife to him or something?
No, I'll just lay them out on the floor.
Well, don't be so foolish. If you had turned round and said to him, well, you've got a lot to talk about, look at your ugly mush, or something like that, then I would have said, OK, you're quits.
But I think we're quits now.
No, you're not.
So what do you want him to do, go and try and smack me one?
No, certainly not. I want the situation to be repaired. There's no excuse. So you are going to say to Robert Taylor, there is no excuse for what I did to you?
I ain't apologising to him.
Robert is brought in.
Is it right that you made some silly remarks about his girlfriend, Robert?
So after you said so to me?
No, it was before you... Rob, when she come down the stairs, you said, oh, that blonde thing, first of all. Then what's her name? Raquel's just come up, started talking to you, and I said, you sorting that out then, Rob? And you says, I'd rather be sorting that out than the grotty thing you're going out with.
I'll sort it out between the two of you if you like. Do you think it was unacceptable what you said, Robert?
Sir.
You do? OK. Apologise to him then.
Sorry, Joe.
We clear it.
Sorry, Robert, get me. Shake me.
Oh,
Can we close the situation there then?
Yes, sir.
Jamie is one of 20 pupils at Park High School who is diagnosed as dyslexic. He's a likeable boy, but in the past has had severe behavioural problems. He's been excluded from other schools and is now trying to reform at Park.
He was very anti-establishment, very anti-schools and teachers and things like that. I think he recognises now that teachers aren't necessarily his enemies, that they actually can be very helpful and supportive. He still gets into trouble, but compared to what he could have been like, I think Jamie's achieved quite a lot.
Cooperator, a source of source.
Luke is also dyslexic, but very different. A quiet, diligent pupil, he's worked with a determination that has obscured the true scale of his problem.
He has fought his problem all the way along. I mean, he will sit and redraft a piece of work 3 times. Had he not done that, had he given in the initial draft, then I think that people would have realised that the problem is worse than we see it to be.
Do you remember the first time you ever heard the word dyslexia?
Yeah, I was staying upstairs in my room and on the landing, and I heard my mum and dad talking about my report, and they said that they thought I might have been dyslexic. And this teacher was going, no, you're not. Your son's just got a little bit of a problem there, which is a bit sad, really, because I think if I had help from when I was at junior school, then I might be better at spelling and things like that now.
When did you think, oh, things aren't going very well?
When my old man tried to make me read the alphabet when I was a little kid, we used to live in a flat, and I just ripped it up in his face and walked off.
How old were you then?
I think I was 5. And I had a teacher come in. I remember one time telling me that I wasn't dyslexic, and I didn't even know what dyslexia was then. And I was saying, what's dyslexia? And she goes, well, you're not it anyway. You're just slow and you're just lazy. You just don't want to do the work. And really, I suppose I thought, well, I'm just slow, I'm lazy, I don't want to do the work. Oh, fair enough, I'm labelled with that, I'll do that.
It just makes school life slower, really. You have to think more and try harder. It gets a bit down at times because you don't really get to enjoy yourself too much. It's embarrassing, isn't it, really? You don't really want to do anything with spelling, or at least not show it to anybody else. That's why I don't like showing people my work, sort of thing.
I mean, are you embarrassed about it?
I'm not embarrassed. I'm just... I'm not sure what I am, actually. Just confused, sort of thing.
Jamie believes his dyslexia led to his behavioural problems.
My form tutor made me look stupid in front of the class because he never gave me a sheet. Give everyone a sheet and says, you can't do this, it's too hard, or something like that. And after the lesson, he's phoned up my dad, and I've got really annoyed, slammed down the phone, told him, if you ever do that again, I'm going to throw you through a window. Like, I was standing right next to a window, and he's standing next to me. I says, look, you're at that ground faster than anything.
Well, I think at times, if I didn't have dyslexia, what could I achieve without it? Because I hope I achieved a fair bit with it. But then you seem to think, well, I have got dyslexia, there's nothing I can do about it, so I've just got to keep trying and try the best I can with it.
Do you enjoy school?
I don't dislike it.
Your behaviour has been better?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Because I feel to an extent I don't have to prove anything anymore. Really, I don't know what it is, maybe I'm growing up, but there's nothing to prove to anyone, so I don't feel like doing it. I think I've come to terms with it more and I find it easier to work with my dyslexia.
Is it something that you've accepted you've got to live with for the rest of your life?
Yeah, I've accepted that. A bit reluctantly, but I've accepted it. It's going to be hard, but some people are worse off, so I suppose I've got to grant myself lucky.
Both boys are in their last year at Park and are now thinking about the future.
When I was in my work experience, all I was doing was washing up, and I'm thinking, great life, like behind the kitchen sink all the time. And I was thinking, in school, like, I'm sitting down, when it comes down to the crunch, really, I'm not ever doing too much, but I'm always doing enough. And really, when I think about it, school's a lot easier than anything else. I suppose school's a DOS, really, half the time.
Just imagine, 5 years' time, what do you think you'll be doing? Where do you think you'll be?
Well, I don't know where I'll be. Hopefully I'll be training to be a teacher in some college or wherever, if I'm lucky.
Are you worried about being unemployed at any point?
No, because I suppose if I am unemployed, there's always ways of making money, and then everyone knows that.
What ways?
They can't be said, can they?
The Stein family have come to see the head about Deborah's detention. The head does not believe Deborah's story.
Where were you told this message?
Down by the medical office by the steps.
What were you doing down there?
On my way up to my lesson.
Why were you down the other end of the school?
Because I went that way.
There is no way from the drama room.
I always go that way.
No, the drama room is there. The science room is above the drama room. The other end of the school, right the way down there. There's no way you can get to science without going on a total circuit of the school and coming back on yourself. There are...
I can't remember why I went that way, but I usually always go that way.
Well, I can't understand that, Deborah. That just doesn't...
I don't think that's really very relevant.
I think it's totally relevant. If you listen through to what I'm going to say, I think it's totally relevant. So this boy came up to you, he knew your name. So someone you had never met before, you knew his name.
Yeah.
Sorry, he knew your name.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that could be possible. You were right by the medical room, where there's a telephone, medical assistance, and the signing out book. Did it not occur to you to take advantage of any of those assistants because the telephone would have been quicker anyway?
No.
Have you been given a chance to find this boy? Have we offered every chance for you to find him? Have you found him?
No.
So he can't be found?
No.
Well, I'm very sorry. I cannot possibly accept the story because I think that basically there was a science test on during that lesson.
Rubbish. She's done the science test and she's passed it with flying colours.
Did she take it at the time?
She took it that afternoon.
But she didn't take it at the time. It's not rubbish. I object to that, quite frankly. It's not rubbish.
I don't care what you object to be quite honest.
I honestly don't think that this is going to get us very far.
Well, I don't think it will get us very far, because obviously you've already made up your mind not
You just call my daughter a liar in front of us, basically. Yes.
I believe...
she's not a liar.
OK, but I don't accept her story. There's too much wrong with it. And if I'm taking this in the cold light of the facts, I believe that she wanted from school.
I feel you're not, you know, you're not taking it as the wisdom of Solomon, as I thought a headmaster would have. You know, there's always two sides to a case.
Absolutely.
And you're not prepared to listen to her parents' side.
I've listened to
you know, you seem to think that my wife's fabricating all her illnesses.
Absolutely not.
No, let me finish. There is no way we would condone her playing truancy.
Absolutely not.
In no way. No. And she never has done. Is that correct?
I don't know.
Well, you've got her records.
Well, if she did it without us finding. I don't know that.
Right, well, she doesn't play truancy, and we don't allow it. No. OK? But what I object to is the detention. I have no objection to you giving her a warning that she has to be more sensible in these matters because of the school procedures. But I object to the detention. If she doesn't do the detention, what are you going to do?
I can't accept responsibility for her welfare if she won't accept, or you won't accept, normal school regulations.
No, I'm asking you if we feel that she's not going to do the detention. What will happen?
I can't accept responsibility for her welfare, which means I can't accept her at this school, and I'll have to ask you to find another school for her. I'm making a stand on this, as I would with any other pupil, but I think it's only fair for me to mention the following. Last year, Deborah received some detentions for misbehaviour. She served a detention, as far as I'm concerned.
I can't see what her past detention has got to do, her past case has got to do with this.
You said, excuse me, can I finish what I was saying?
Yes.
Thank you. Last summer, I caught Deborah smoking outside school with a group of junior pupils, a younger age group to her. I brought them back into school. This was at lunchtime, they were in the bushes up the road. I brought them back into school, and I was dealing, as usual, one by one. I had the first of the younger ones in here and was speaking to her. when Deborah loudly outside this door, loudly enough to be heard in the room, and it stopped the conversation between myself and this younger pupil, said, "Don't worry, he won't do anything to us, he's scared of my mum." She then followed it up with, because obviously someone outside asked her why she was saying that, she followed it up with, "Oh, well, last time I was in trouble, I got off because I got my mum up the school."
She didn't get off. Rubbish.
She did
She didn't get off.
Can I finish, please?
Well, no, because you're bringing it... I can't see the point
No,
of
I
bringing
can't see the
it
point
up.
of this at all. Can I just say something here and now?
Then.
No, I'm going to say something right here and now.
Yep.
You've got it in for my daughter. You've got it in for us because we are not, yes, Mr. Ford, no, Mr. Ford parents. We stick up for our children. We always will and we always have done. And I don't think you're going to change our minds.
Can I finish what I was saying?
I can't see the point of bringing that up, quite frankly. This is
Well,
completely irrelevant to this particular incident. And I think you'll agree, and everybody in this room will agree, that it's completely irrelevant to this.
Well, I would hardly agree with that,
there's
considering
no point,
I brought it up, would I?
Look, there's no point continuing it in this manner.
No.
If you're not prepared to be a little bit reasonable in this matter, then there's no point in continuing.
Well, if I can say, if you're not prepared to be reasonable in carrying out...
We are very reasonable.
I can't even finish the sentence. In carrying out a normal school punishment, which is accepted, and I think a very lenient one, half-an-hour detention, then I'm sorry, I don't think you're being at all reasonable, and I must stand on the grounds that this school must run efficiently and effectively.
There's two sides to a case, and you're only prepared to listen to one.
And you're
because
only prepared to listen to yours.
I'm asking you to perhaps be a little bit more sensible in the matter.
I'm asking you to be sensible in the matter.
Well, then we have a conflict on this.
We do indeed.
So I don't think there's any need to continue.
What was she doing down by the medical room? That floored her. She didn't know what to say, which is why she looked away. She didn't have a clue. She usually goes to science that way. What is wrong? Okay.
It's sad that they just...
I know.
are so...
For half an hour's detention.
I know. Mr. Ford wasn't prepared to listen to us. He'd already made his mind up, and he decided that Deborah was going to have a punishment or else. And he just wasn't going to listen. He'd already decided.
OK, you know, there are two sides to everything, as the father said, and I accept that. But they're certainly not listening to our side.
Do you think your daughter lied about this?
No, I don't. She's not perfect. Please don't think that she's perfect. She is not perfect. She's a normal 15-year-old who I'm sure will get up to goodness knows what in her time. But lying, she doesn't.
There's no question in my mind. She made it up. Now she's dug herself a hole. And she can't admit to making it up because she's put her parents to all this trouble. And I can't back down because the message it gives. You know, if she causes nuisance like this, she gets away with it. It's not right for her and it's not right for the school.
Deborah does not attend the detention and is excluded from school. In next week's programme, her parents fight that decision. Natasha has just started her second year and is now coping well.
I think at the end of Park High, perhaps I'm dreaming, but I can see her going to college, I can see her leading a normal working life.
Lee Sin, as expected, achieved grade A's in all 10 of his GCSEs.
I'm sure many schools have people like Lee Sin, but I don't know whether we have a strategy developing for them.
Jamie's highest grade was an F. He's applied for a job at a shoe shop.
Do you regret what happened before?
I wouldn't change none of it, no, because really, I suppose the way I dealt with it was the only way I could come to terms with it, I suppose.
And Luke did well. He got 6 GCSEs between grades A and C. He still hopes to become a teacher.
I think everything's gone pretty well against dyslexia. I think I'm winning now.
Do not run on the cricket square.
Can you do it off school premises? I really don't want to know.
The next time you two behave in a science lesson like that, I shall walk you to the door myself.
If you've been in a fish and chip shop, blood will flow.
It's shrunk! No one's using it ever again. Ever. Ever.
You do exactly what I ask you to do.
Just days from the end of Park High's autumn term and the mini enterprise is underway.
Come and buy a Cadbury's hot chocolate.
Business studies pupils at the Harrow Comprehensive get a taste of life's cut and thrust when they set up their own companies. Top of the profit table is Porky's, selling sweets and drinks. Head teacher Keith Ford's reign is nearly over. He leaves at Christmas.
I thought you allowed them here.
You thought you were allowed them.
Porky's gain is the canteen's loss. Takings are well down, and the jobs of these women could be on the line. Canteen manager Pam Franklin tackles business studies teacher Barbara Roberts.
But, you see, the children aren't coming to us. No, but the point was, I had them trading here because I thought they would have gone past to you there.
No, they're not. They're coming straight in here. They're not coming to us at all.
Cooked food is not allowed outside the dining hall. Now that is cooked food. I am fed up with seeing chips, sauce and those cartons all over the school.
When we look in here, you're absolutely packed out in here, and we're in there for about a quarter of an hour. Nothing. Which we can't do.
How about we sell off our stock today and we finish trading?
Can you stand there? Yeah, I'll do that for you.
That's very nice.
I don't want to stand in your way at all.
No, I know that.
I realise,
I know,
but
yes.
I've got to look after.
Yes, of course. You've got jobs on the line.
A bit cutthroat then it's getting at school, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Do you feel a bit of a meanie?
I do really, but then I think I've got to respect the ladies in there as well, haven't I?
And if this has taught you one thing about the wacky world of business, what would it be?
Don't enter it.
And if you take it back to the dining hall, I will ignore the fact you don't know the school rules. All right?
Yes, sir.
There's a deal. Go. Fastest way you can, straight back.
In many ways, Ford's role as head conforms to the traditional stereotype. But in fact, his job has been transformed. There have been momentous changes in the whole education system. Park High now have to publish their exam results. They'll be put into a league table with other schools' results. Park will do well, but the head is not in favour.
It's a con, it doesn't tell parents anything. And you can manufacture results anyway, you can manipulate. There is a school, and I'm not going to mention any names, that is rumoured to get rid of children who are clearly not going to do well at exams. You can get rid of children. The competition lies in the quality of children, if you can say that. The competition is in getting the children who are going to get the A's, so you're top of the league table, so you keep getting the children who get the A's. And that's nasty. That's nasty competition, because that doesn't make you comprehensive.
And no one wants to help the children at the bottom of the pile.
We do.
Great effort, well done. Go and get your ticket.
Park High is popular. Many more children want to come to the school than can be accommodated. 750 hopeful parents turned up at the school's open evening, yet Park can only take about 230 pupils every year.
The recent changes say that parents have choice, and in fact the recent changes have made sure that parents certainly don't have choice.
Under the system in Harrow, parents who attempt to choose anything other than their local school may not only fail to get into the school of their choice, but also lose the place they held locally.
It's a very dangerous game, and most parents, I would imagine, will stop selecting another school. It's embarrassing because you get people telephoning and they honestly do believe that you can give a place. I mean, I've been offered computers, watches. You know, people are actually beginning to actually offer perks. If you let my daughter in, I will give you.
The school's annual careers convention. The children here are having to consider life after Park High. In a matter of months, they'll walk out of the school gates for the very last time.
People say that school days are the best years of your life. I used to laugh at it before, but it's true, because when I leave Park High, I don't know what I'm going to do, because I won't be out in this sort of big, bad world, and I won't have all my friends around me for support.
Many pupils are still unsure about the future, but others have already made their minds up.
Can you tell us a little bit about what kind of craft work you'd like to do?
Engraving.
That sounds nice. Okay, stones and that sort of thing? Or jewellery or metal work?
Shotguns and...
Lois sees her future in flying.
I'd like to join the RAF and be a pilot. It is the excitement involved in flying, I suppose, the speed. It's so different compared to any other career there is. I think that's the main attraction.
Alex is also aiming high.
You can laugh if you want, because this is very funny. Now, I'd like to, you know, kind of either be an actor or a singer or whatever I want to be, just as long as I'm famous, it doesn't matter.
Why is fame so important to you?
Oh no, it's just been one of my great ambitions. You know, I have a certain hunger to actually go out and do it.
Do you find it stressful?
There are times when it can be, yes.
Lois's work experience was with the RAF.
But I'm sure that's the same with any job.
If you could fly anything, you'd want to be a fighter pilot?
Yes, I would like to be a fighter pilot. But women can't become fighter pilots, so...
But maybe one day?
One day, maybe.
Alex gained his experience at the school's karaoke afternoon.
The money doesn't matter, though. The money doesn't matter, just the fame.
The RAF is male-dominated, but the numbers of females are increasing. I mean, it will be hard, but things are changing now.
Do you think there's any reason why women can't make it in the RAF?
No, there's no reason, really. I mean, there are women pilots in other countries. Why can't they be in this country? It's tough to get into. So.
Do you think you'll make it?
I hope so.
On the football pitch in my spare time, I'd model myself on Gary Lineker. And business side, in the future, I might model myself on, say, Tom Cruise.
I'll be back later on.
All right, okay, fine. Maeve should do well in her exams. She wants to go on to further education. It's something her father never had the chance of.
When I left school, I remember it very clearly. I went to the labour exchange. It was then the woman said to me, "What do you want to do?" Well, I mean, what a question to ask.
Do you consider the Air Force to be sexist?
Yeah.
You do?
As there's less jobs around, I think I've got to get something, you know, qualifications, whatever. Because I know a lot of people who have left school and haven't got anywhere, you know. They're still on the dole or whatever.
And you would be right.
Max faces a more uncertain future. He's 15 and not one of Park High's most mature students.
Okay, right. I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon, Max.
Beg your heart,
I beg your pardon.
Sorry for being blessed from the Spirit.
Max.
Max is often in trouble.
I was threatened that next time that happened I would be suspended.
What did you do then?
Oh, I told Mr. Wittius and sucked my plums.
Have you thought about what you'd like to do when you leave school?
Something about being either a psychiatrist or a lawyer.
Well, seriously?
Seriously.
Why?
Lawyers, like as I said, I get a satisfaction out of talking my way out of trouble. And I could be talking someone else's trouble, so I'd be satisfied. I enjoyed doing the work. And psychiatry, I like to talk about problems. I like to talk about people's problems and solving them.
Max, could I just have that apology properly, please?
I'm very sorry.
That's okay.
That's been dismissed.
I mean, do you regret leaving school at 14?
Oh, of course. Because I've been struggling ever since I left school. You know, financially you are. I mean, if you haven't got the education, especially in this day and age, you're in dead trouble.
Do you think of yourself as a career woman, or do you think of yourself as a family woman? I mean...
Career. It's the money, basically. I know it's bad to say that, but money, you know. I should be thinking about what job I enjoy most, but I mean, I like money.
If you go to work and you might be earning an awful lot of money and you don't enjoy it, going out to work, which I did for many, many years, it's a waste of time, you know, it just destroys you in the end.
Do you know small Paul Rhodes? Oh yeah, do you know that stick for the window? That you open the window, and I said I'll beat up Miss Craythorne for the laugh of it.
Oh, I'm not surprised that Miss Craythorne was a bit fed up with you.
But if you seriously want to go into a profession like being a lawyer, do you think there comes a time when you have to start behaving at school?
Oh yeah.
And when would that time be?
I could say so and it wouldn't happen. As soon as I can, that's all I can say. I mean, I'd love to stop being the way I am, but I don't know, once you do so many things, it's hardly any way of stopping it.
Take it home, please.
With the term coming to an end, the row over Deborah Stein shows no sign of subsiding. The local paper has now picked up on Deborah, who was given a detention for leaving the school without permission, but claims she was the victim of a prank. Her parents say she will not serve the punishment. The school does not believe Deborah's story that another pupil told her her mother was sick. They think she truanted and have stated she can only return to Park when she does the detention. Thursday morning, a mother and daughter unexpectedly arrive at the head's office.
I'm bringing her to school because we feel she should be at school. And you're telling me you're not accepting her. What did you just say?
My actual words were, I shall exclude her.
So you're not accepting her?
No. I said, I shall exclude her.
Well, can you do it now?
There's a letter.
No, we don't accept what you're doing. We feel that you're stopping my daughter the right to her rightful education. And this matter is not going to be left here. This matter is being taken further and higher than you. And if you think you're going to get away with it, you can think again.
It's not about winning. I mean, you know, everyone loses because the girl's not at school, and she should be. It's not she can't win, because I don't see it as a battle. Basically, she can win easily. The girl does a detention for breaking the school rules. Quite simple.
I'm open to any approach you'd like to make to arrange for Deborah to serve her detention. Not having this.
The Steins decide to appeal.
In my time as a deputy and a head, that's 10 years, I've only ever once had to go to an appeal, and that was at this school 2 years ago. We won the appeal.
The reason for this trap actually being totally fleshless is that after about 15 years, there won't be any flesh or any hair.
Yeah, so you did that?
Yes, and also...
Ravi is certain about what career he wants.
I think maybe both his arms are broken, and a broken leg. There we go.
Marking it out.
Ravi wants to join the film industry. His work experience was behind the scenes on the TV series Inspector Morse. One of his jobs, to bury a murder victim.
It's just such a different life. It's not sort of like sitting behind a desk in an office and just working. There's so many things going on at once. And you don't actually stick to the same job for your whole life. You can move on to other things, other films, other parts of the business.
What about money?
Money, I've heard money's good. I'm not complaining.
Is that important to you?
Yeah, definitely.
What's the problem, Andreas?
I don't really feel well.
Andreas does not know what he wants to do. He's not been a success at Park High.
You are out of order, aren't you? Sit there, keep it shut to the end of the lesson. No, shut up.
He's got brains, but he doesn't use them because he's loud and he doesn't keep his mouth shut when he should keep his mouth shut.
All right, man, it's really yours.
Andreas had not wanted to do his work experience at an insurance office.
Maybe there's more to it than there seems to be to you at the moment.
Yeah, because I can't type and I've got to type. And I don't really like answering phones, and that's what I've got to do. And I don't really like making cups of tea.
Oh, right.
So I think school's what you make it.
And what have you made it?
Hell.
Only about 10% of the 16-year-olds at Park High will not go on to further education. Andreas is one of those, and as such earns an early careers interview.
I wear glasses.
You do, right, OK. You wear glasses for?
My eyes.
For distance, for reading?
They discuss Andreas's work experience in insurance.
What were you doing there?
Being a slave.
Mm.
Just doing everything
they couldn't bother to do. I thought like I'd be interesting as well, but sort of found out otherwise. Because you always have to deal with their complaints, and you know what I mean. And I don't really like people complaining. Gets on my nerves.
Yeah, right.
Ideally, I would have liked him to have gone on to do something like accountancy or possibly a lawyer. I know that sounds silly, but I always thought he was capable of it.
I just want to be doing something that interests me.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's the tricky bit, is finding out what the interest is, isn't it?
I will worry about him because I know what sort of temper he's got, and I know that if a boss pushes him too far, his attitude will probably be, well, to hell with your job, I'm going. So yes, I do worry. I worry that he's going to leave school and maybe go into a job that he's not going to be very happy doing.
Andreas is considering mechanics. He's been asked how he would change a wheel.
Yeah, come on, tell me what you do.
You've got to get that thing with you, haven't you? That thingy that lifts the car up.
Come on, not get that thing with you. What do you do?
You've got to lift the car up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to unscrew the nuts.
How do you lift the car up?
With one of them thingies. It's sort of, I don't know what it's called.
He's one of those who's not exactly in fantasy land, but he's very much in sorting himself out land, isn't he? You know, he's another one who doesn't really fit in with school, and he's sort of physically, he's all over the place, isn't he? And he's obviously got to get himself channelled a bit.
Will you regret, do you think, ever, maybe in 5-10 years, looking back, that you didn't make more of your school life?
I think I regret that I was so bad, and think about what I could have done if I never mucked about, and just have to wait and see what I make of myself.
As for Ravi, his hard work appeared, albeit briefly, before the public earlier this year.
Something in here. And dig it up, for God's sake, dig it up. Moss.
Who's that, Moss? I was a bit disappointed to see that they didn't show the whole clip of it, but it was nice to see the actual scene because I knew that I'd actually made it and been there.
The head departs for the Civic Centre and the hearing over Deborah Stein. He feels he can't back down.
The only sanction we've got left, basically, is detention when it boils down to it. You know, the parents call out that they want discipline, and then they turn around and, if they don't like something, they scream that we're being unfair.
The appeal, which is heard by a senior education officer, does not last long. It upholds the school's stand.
They weren't prepared to listen
in any shape or form. They weren't prepared to accept that my wife had been ill. Anything to that. So they were quite adamant. In fact,
they'd made their minds up before we even got in there. They're not prepared to listen. They don't want to know.
So what are you going to do?
I'm going to take her to school tomorrow morning and let him throw her out. That's what he's going to do. Let him do it.
The mother said that she's going to bring Deborah up to school tomorrow regardless and insist on bringing her in. And I can't believe a parent could do that.
What do you do if she does that? How do you handle that?
Well, it's totally unique as far as I'm concerned. If a parent's willing to put their child through that sort of humiliation and embarrassment, I just wonder if they've got the welfare of the daughter at heart.
The following morning, and the head has asked the local police officer to be present. Within minutes, Mrs. Stein and Deborah arrive.
Ah, well, is she going to do detention then, that's the thing?
She feels going to fit. I'm not going to do the detention. I'm going to refuse to because no way should I be punished for something that wasn't my fault.
Well, I'm afraid she's still excluded, so she can't come to school today until she agrees to serve a detention. And as agreed yesterday at the meeting, I shall write a letter.
I think you're being totally unreasonable.
Well, I'm sorry, but I don't think I am. And really, this is after long, long thought. And I have the backing of the governors and of the authority and the staff.
Of course you do. You all made your mind up before we even got into the office.
Well, okay. But I'm very sorry, but Deborah,
You're
if you...
very sorry?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Do you realise what this is doing to us as a family? Do you realise how ill I am over this? And do you realise what you're doing to my daughter's education? That's all right, is it? That's fine.
Deborah's doing that to her education.
I'm not
Deborah's not doing anything to her education. All she wants to do is come back to school.
And we'll be pleased to see
And
her.
all we want to do is for her to come back to school.
And we'll be pleased to see her if she has served the half-hour detention.
I'm not doing it. It's final.
Okay.
Deborah is permanently excluded from Park High.
Robert.
Robert is another who might leave at 16.
You know I'm always spick and span on time.
He's well-behaved, articulate, but not academically successful.
I don't think the teachers bother to teach them enough, and I don't know if he really wants to learn. I've no idea of how he behaves in school, whether he just larks about or whether he pays attention and gives it his all. Probably not.
Do you try at school? Honestly?
Not if I don't like the teacher.
You've always enjoyed social science before, haven't you?
No.
I thought you had last year because you were chatty and were able to... You had a good report from social science.
I shouldn't have, because I didn't learn anything last year.
Robert meets with his tutor to discuss his report. The one subject he truly cares about is art, but for the second year running, he's got a bad subject assessment.
I can't see what the problem is.
Well, that's obviously the problem, isn't it? That you don't understand that there is a problem.
Yeah.
So have you spoken to Miss...
She doesn't listen.
She doesn't listen to you?
She doesn't listen to me.
Why do you make such a statement?
That's what I think, that's all.
For what?
She never comes over, she always goes over to everyone else. She never comes over to my table. Never. It's true. It's true. I want to pass art. I'm good at art, I have to pass art. Because I have to pass at the subject I'm best at.
Have you pushed him hard enough, do you think?
Some children you can push hard, some you can't. Robert, you can't push Robert hard.
Can you push him at all?
Blanks off. That's what he does. He blanks himself off. If he's not interested, his mind goes blank.
If you're stuck with thinking that your work is of a high standard, and she clearly doesn't think so...
It is of high standard.
In your opinion, it's of a high standard?
In other people's opinion, it's of high standard.
Who's the other opinion?
My mum, my dad, my friends.
But they're not GCSE examiners, are they?
What's the difference?
Don't you think she's had some experience in terms of what is going to achieve a good grade or not?
Yeah, but also she has her opinion as well.
He was disappointed at not being made a prefect. It seems that the boys who are made prefects are either swats or some of them are even idiotic. But, you know, he never got a chance, and I think that would have made a big difference to him.
Have you even imagined a career?
Yeah, I've imagined art editor of magazines, graphic designer, but they're just dreams.
I mean, are you worried about your future?
Oh, of course, yeah. But I don't. I try not to let it worry me. But it's creeping up slowly, and there's no getting out of it. So I'm going to have to think fast.
Now it's in year 11. There's no reason for comments to be made that, unless they want you to improve what you're doing. But you don't seem to accept that in what you're doing in some areas needs improvement. And that is a great difficulty.
I'm not going to push myself hard.
Why?
Because I don't want to make myself into a nervous wreck when the exams come. I'm not working myself over until 12 o'clock at night with bags under my eyes and late nights, you know. I mean, that's not for me.
Not with his wrestling on, I mean.
Nothing like that's for me.
The term is nearly over. It's been a long, hard but successful 16 weeks, and it ends with the staff Christmas panto. Being a teacher nowadays is no easy life.
Potatoes just turned into black mush.
I could always cancel your holiday. You realise that?
I can't write a proper report on David's work because I hardly ever see any. He keeps telling me it's at home because he's working on it. This is admirable, but it must also be brought to lessons. Comment?
Works at home.
I suggest you go to room 7, supervision.
Oh,
go on.
I have to?
Come on, gang, we've got our clothes.
Stephen, get your hands out of your pockets. Ray, you can help whenever you're ready. Go for it, Ray.
Raymond.
Right.
It's the head's farewell performance.
You're going to have an ingrowing head in a minute, Douglas. I said you're going to have an ingrowing head in a minute.
Poor Tiddle! Just give it to me, will you? Shut up. I'll take care of poor Tiddles. Ah, poor sick pussy. I'll make him better.
I resent having to walk after a pupil who I'm trying to talk to. Where's your tie? What's it doing there?
Sorry, to get off when I get home.
Well, you don't. You look a wreck. Well, I do have a few little marks.
Ah, not that again, look.
If I find you smoking again this term, you'll be in deep trouble. Do you understand?
Sir.
Off you go. Send her in, please. Change your shoes. Get out the door first. It's the lower one. Just turn it. Their hands sweat.
The head leaves after 4 years, having steered Park through the government's revolution in education.
Wheezes, not ideas, they're wheezes. You know, what, we haven't made a decision this week, so we better think of something new. What should we do? Well, let's try the national curriculum.
I mean, do you feel as strongly as that?
Yeah. I feel that a past Secretary of State for Education wanted to be Prime Minister. Because he wanted to be Prime Minister, he thought, right, I better do something big in education. He left a tremendous mess, and I am now devoting my entire life to trying to sort out that mess. And children are suffering for it. I feel that strongly, yeah.
Park says it's final goodbye. On his last day in charge at Park High before he moves to another school, it's fitting that the head should be the last to leave.
I've sent my own children to comprehensives, and I wouldn't have dreamt of doing otherwise. I think it's vital they mix. I think it's vital that you get every different type of person in the place. I think comprehensive schools work.
Robert got a G in his GCSE art, the lowest grade attainable. Unperturbed, he's decided to study art at college. Andreas was successful in his search for work. He's just started an apprenticeship as a mechanical engineer. And in January, under a new head, Deborah finally served her detention and was allowed to return to Park High School.
Look at the state of it, you've got black eye. Good, you deserve it.
You don't wear those. You are not allowed to wear those, and I don't want to see those ever again.
Boys, can you just calm down? I wouldn't let you have it done if it hurt you.
Danny, I shall miss your humour.
I won't miss those trousers. Ha, ha, ha.
Remember, Friday nights. Friday nights are special nights. I'm serious.
Happy New Year. Great success to you in the future. Bye.
There'll be another chance to see this series starting on Friday 13th of November at 6:30. For a free information handbook for parents of secondary school children, please write to Park High, Box 33.